Animosity and jealousy was rampant among Muhammad's wives. If this is a surprise to you, I've demonstrated this in a previous video about Muhammad's marital strife. See that for more detail. Muhammad would take turns with his wives, sleeping with different ones each night, except of course for Safiya, the beautiful slave girl, who was also a Jew. It was Aisha's turn on the rotation on the night Muhammad quietly crept out of bed, put on his shoes, and walked out into the darkness. Aisha, jealous Muhammad was sneaking away when it was her night with the Prophet, quietly followed. Muhammad lifted his hands in prayer several times, then turned to walk back to Aisha's house. Aisha ran ahead, trying to keep her spying a secret, but Muhammad had caught a glimpse of her shadow, and when he arrived at the bedside, Aisha was still out of breath. Muhammad's response was harsh. Muhammad struck her on the chest and caused her pain. Islamic apologists offer a defense for this. They say he didn't strike Aisha, rather, he shoved her. They insist that this is the proper translation of the Arabic. The translation above is from an online source. However, my hard copy of Sahih Muslim, published by Dar al-Salam, confirms this reading. So we have two competing translations. I believe it's the latter, shoving, that is correct. But I don't know Arabic. So how do I arrive at this conclusion? A comprehensive study of the Hadith indicates a common thread between this and another scenario. There is another time when a hard shove is mentioned. The Prophet said, "If while you are praying somebody intends to pass in front of you, prevent him, and should he insist, prevent him again, and if he insists again, fight with him, because such a person is a Satan." The preventing and fighting that Muhammad is talking about is in the form of shoving, as the parentheses note above. When Muhammad's words are put into practice, I saw Abu Sa'id al-Khudri praying on a Friday. A young man wanted to pass in front of him, but Abu Sa'id repulsed him with a push on his chest. Finding no alternative, he again tried to pass, etc. Abu Sa'id did this because he heard the Prophet saying, if anybody amongst you is praying, and somebody tries to pass in front of him, then he should repulse him, and if he refuses, he should use force against him, for he is a Satan. And in Sharia law, if the person dies as a result of being shoved, no indemnity is due for the death. So when encountering a devil, Muhammad commanded to fight it, to shove it, violently if necessary, and so the violent shoving is connected between the devil passing in front of a Muslim in prayer and the case with Aisha. Both are shoved violently. So violent shoving is a common theme. But what about the devil? In another narration in Sahih Muslim 7110, where Aisha admits her jealousy for Muhammad leaving her house one night, a story which we previously described, she gives more detail about their conversation. The Messenger of Allah said, "Has your devil come to you?" Aisha said, "O Messenger of Allah, is there a devil with me?" He said, "Yes." Based on Muhammad's commands, when Abu Sa'id al-Khudri was praying and a devil passed in front of him, he shoved the devil. When Aisha's jealousy manifested itself as she spied on the Prophet, her devil had come to her, and Muhammad gave her a painful shove on the chest. And this is why I believe shoving Aisha is the correct translation over striking her. Though striking could be considered part of fighting the devil, it's not the first stage. The stages begin with a simple shove and then increase in severity up to and including death. Aisha was at the first level. Muhammad shoved her, and she acknowledged the devil inside of her. Having realized this, no further violence was required. So I believe the defense of Muhammad's actions by Islamic apologists stands, at least in part. Muhammad didn't strike Aisha, he only shoved her, but apparently hard enough to cause her pain, a detail which is in both translations of the narration. But is this any better? Upon being jealous, Muhammad taught Aisha that her devil had entered her, and at this point the only solution was to treat her with escalating violence. Had Aisha persisted, Muhammad would have continued to use more and more force to eradicate Aisha's satanic influence. But this notion Muhammad had about shoving a devil is simply nonsense. The criteria for determining if one is dealing with a Satan is arbitrary, but it is convenient for Muhammad. Jealousy was a constant among Muhammad's wives, so here Muhammad conveniently attempts to curtail this constant blight among his consorts by attributing Aisha's envy to a satanic force and applying the appropriate first-level punishment of shoving, thereby physically abusing Aisha and causing her pain. Surely this bullying by the Prophet, combined with his revelation that there was a satanic force manifested by jealousy, even in his favorite wife, was a strong deterrent away from jealousy in the future, as Muhammad continued his nightly rotations with his brides.